This episode is sponsored by Katrina's selfie stick. Katrina bought a selfie stick for this channel so that I won't have to do everything awkwardly by hand. Stay tuned to the end to see more of what Katrina's selfie stick can do. These apples were picked from the hills behind Jastrebarsko. So if you want to have free apples, just drive up there, visit the nice vineyards, and pick a bunch of apples and make apple pie. So step one, we're gonna cut some apples. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to heat up the apples and boil them in water. We're gonna add a bunch of sugar, as much sugar as we can find in our house, and obviously that's not enough, so we're gonna take it from here and buy some more later for coffee. And then we're gonna also grate in some fresh cinnamon. And if you're clever like me, you would buy powder, like grated cinnamon, and not like have to grate it yourself.
Two hours later.
So as per ADHD and not paying attention, you don't want that. You don't want to boil it. So we're gonna take this off the fire a little bit, but you do want to reduce the apples down, the water in the apples down to simmer. By the way, I added a cup of water, and this is about 2 pounds of apples, maybe. So we're gonna reduce the fire down to low and let it evaporate. So after about an hour, it looks like this. I added some all-purpose flour because I didn't have cornstarch to thicken up the sauce. And as you can see, you can actually taste it and see if you need more cinnamon or any other spices. That would be good. I like to use like some licorice flavored spices, so like anise or fennel, and it depends on how you want to make your apple pie. While that's brewing, you can put in about like 400 grams of flour, or a pound, because like the thing is metric is weird. Flour, all-purpose flour, and 4 sticks of butter, or about 400 grams, and I think. And basically, we're gonna mix it up with our hands and making sure we're going to create like little pieces. You can use a food processor for this, and it's faster, but we're gonna do it the old school way. So what we're doing is we're mixing the flour with the butter using our hands and incorporating the butter into each grain of flour so that we don't create gluten. And the reason why we don't want to create gluten is because we want the crust light and flaky, and light and flaky crusts do not have gluten in them. Once you get into this consistency of that kinetic sand toy or very dry Play-Doh, we're gonna add water, some ice water, slowly at a time until you get to the consistency of pie crust. I know I'm not explaining what pie crust should feel like, but basically it gets to that point of where it's easily mendable, and we're gonna put it in the fridge after that in some saran wrap. After putting cold water in a bit at a time, we're going to we get this consistency of Play-Doh, and what we want to do is not have little cracks in it, but we don't want it to be too wet either. So this is about as good. Maybe I'll put a little bit of a splash more, and mix it in. And what we're gonna do now is we're going to wrap it up in saran wrap and stick it in the fridge for about 32 minutes to an hour so that the butter cools down again. So we stuck this on saran wrap. As you can see, it's pretty malleable, and it is the consistency now of like roti canai dough. So if you add a little bit of ghee, you can probably make roti canai out of this. See you in 30 minutes. It's been about 30 minutes, and we're gonna take this dough and we're gonna put it, lay it out a bit bigger than the pan itself. And we have a stick of butter, and we're gonna prep the pan by oiling up the pan with the butter. So this is pretty hard. It's like not really a brick, but you know, we're gonna I had to stick it in the freezer because the refrigerator wasn't really doing its job. So, but the reason why you want it nice and cold is so that it's easy to roll out and it won't crack like it did here. So we're gonna try to make it a little bit bigger than the diameter of the pan, save a little bit for the top, and hopefully we can make a lattice. And hopefully this is enough to cover that. We don't have a proper pie pan because this is not my apartment, and we don't have a proper roller because, you know, whatever. But you can use a wine glass, or in this case a schnapps bottle and wine glass, a wine bottle. And then basically what you want to do, this is cracking because it's like too cold, but so we're just gonna knead it back. And basically what you want to do is roll it into a 1/4 inch, and it's okay if it cracks because, like, you know, like any dough product, you can always fill in the holes because nobody has to know. We're gonna attempt to transfer it by hand. Cracks. So obviously it doesn't fit and there are cracks, but we're going to fill it in with and make sure that we have at least an inch up on the side, because like I said, this is not a proper pie pan. And don't worry about cracks because we'll just fill it in later. So obviously this is not going to be enough for strips, so we're gonna like make do. Let's see what we can do. This is called lack of planning. And let's see how many strips we can do. And now we're gonna bake it at 180 degrees Celsius or 300 like Fahrenheit, I think. And basically, hopefully, it'll turn out okay. Preheat the fundo to 200. Bye bye. So after about 30 minutes in the oven, because it's a big pan, we get this. Hopefully it'll taste good. You just have to let it cool down and set it up for a thumbnail. The selfie stick can even hold an apple. It can hold another fruit. You can use the selfie stick to iron. You can use the selfie stick to make tea. When you're in the toilet and you're done, you can use the selfie stick to grab your toilet paper. You can use the selfie stick to scratch your back. Selfie stick. Like, share, subscribe.